name is John Romano, and this video is going to be hard for some people to watch because I am a school shooter. And I wouldn't be speaking up if I didn't believe that I can somehow help out. I know that this is gonna hurt some people, and that's the last thing I want to do, but I really hope that I can do some good, and that good will outweigh the harm I'm doing by speaking up. So I'm sorry to those, to all those people who will suffer and feel pain and relive whatever horrible fucking trauma you've been through, whether by my hands or by the hands of somebody else. I'm sorry. But something needs to happen. We need change. And we've waited a long time, so many people. Columbine was 23 years ago. And we see too many shootings like it throughout that time, but we don't see too much happening to prevent them. We hear a lot of talk, but we don't see a lot of action. So here I am, hating the fact that I'm coming to you with a different perspective that I wish I didn't have, but I do. So I can tell you that on February 9th, 2004, I was 16 years old when I walked into my high school carrying a shotgun. I drove myself into school late that day, and I had a backpack on, and I had the case. I had the shotgun in its case, and I knew that the case was this, a hard plastic black case that looked like an instrument case for music instruments. So nobody would think of anything if they saw me down the hallway or in the distance, or even up close. So when I walked in that day, I walked in through the front door and nobody was there. And I'm sure some people might have seen me, but again, they didn't think anything of me. I looked like any other kid there. And I ended up going into the bathroom, and I went into the stall. And I can tell you that suddenly I wanted nothing more than to go home when I was there. I just wanted to go home, and I wanted things to be different. But I didn't believe that things would be different. I believed that my life would go on feeling meaningless, feeling empty, and full of despair. And I'm not saying these things to make what I did sound okay or justified or right, because they weren't. I'm saying this so maybe you can somehow see inside the mind of somebody who could do this. Because in my mind, I felt alone in my suffering. I knew I had a good life as far as circumstances go. I had a family who cared and loved me. I had friends who cared about me. But there were times where I'd be in a room full of people who loved me, but I felt alone and I felt like my life was empty and I wanted nothing more than to die. And I'm not saying that other people's lives weren't terrible. I was just saying, like, I didn't understand how I could be living this way as far as what should be such a great life but still feel so empty. And I felt trapped, and I felt like I was getting sucked further and further into this despair, and I wanted it to end. And I went to therapy. I was on medications and all like that. And I thought, you know what? It's never going to end. I gave it a try and I want it to end. But I never really opened up in therapy. And I probably wasn't on medications that I should have been on. And I wasn't able to sit at home and pull the trigger on myself like I wanted to at times. So there I was, sitting in the stall when the bell rings and the hallways fill up with students, and students come into the bathroom, and I'm in the stall, shotgun in my hands. And I just sat there, palms sweating, and I don't know. And then the bathroom empties out, the hallways empty out, and the bell rings and another class begins. I couldn't even pull the trigger on myself there. Like I was thinking, I'm sitting there. Like, if I could just pull the trigger, kind of right there while other people were there, kind of sending that message of fuck you, you know what I mean? But I end up stepping out of the stall. I end up going, and I'm so nervous. Like I said, my hands were sweating, and I wash my hands and I grab the gun, and there's this big long mirror along the one, and I just look at myself, and suddenly I just go into this like trance, and I'm just calm and just detached all of a sudden. And I start to make my way out of the bathroom. And then there's this student. He's just coming around the corner and into the bathroom. And he sees me walking towards him. And he sees my shotgun in my hands at my waist. And he freezes. Because who the fuck would expect to see that when you're at school and you're just going to the bathroom real quick? And he says, "This can't be real." And he turns and he runs. And I later read in his statement to police that he runs into the very first classroom and he throws the bookcase in front of the door and barricades it. And I can't imagine what all those other students were thinking. What the fuck? They're just in class like any other day, and suddenly here comes this kid and he throws the bookcase in front of and he's, talking about somebody with a gun, and then I come out of the bathroom and I come around the corner, and this long stretch of hallway, and there's two other students now, and they're just coming around the other corner at the very end of the hallway. They're a good 35, 40 feet away from me, and they see me, and one of them, he yells out, "Oh shit." And the teacher in the classroom right there, again, to her, it's any other day. And she hears a student yelling this, and she yells out, "Watch your mouth." Because she didn't know what was going on. And then I fired 2 shots with a gun down at my waist. I fired 2 shots up above these students' heads to scare them off, and they run. And they run. And they run. And I walk down the hall, and I see the doors closed in the classrooms. And suddenly I come upon a classroom with a door open. And I walk over and I stand in the doorway. And I look into this classroom full of kids. And they're all on the floor, hiding behind their desks, hiding from me. And the teacher, she's at the front of the class. She sees me, and she's under the table, and she yells out, "Oh Lord." And there's this one student, she pokes her head up above her desk, looking at me, her eyes filled with confusion, because her and we'd been hanging out over the weekend in a group full of friends. She wasn't really a friend, she was more of a friend of a friend, but she's got that look of, "What the fuck are you doing?" But also the terror, because her and everybody else in there, they think that their lives might come to an end by my hand, because they see the one thing that everybody fears the most for themselves. They fear the most for their children when they send their kids to school. But I turn around and I walk out. I don't say anything. I don't do anything. I just was standing there blank, looking at everybody. And I go back into the hallway from the way I came. And I remember I'm walking towards the corner of the hallway. I'm thinking, like, I'm just gonna go and sit. And part of me imagines me finally being able to pull the trigger on myself. If not that, then I'll wait for the police, and I know that they will end me. I know all I have to do is hold up that gun towards them, and they will end me. They will end me like I want, like I need. They will end me. as I'm going down the hallway, a man comes up behind me and he grabs the barrel of the shotgun and he grabs the stock and he squeezes me, and he's got me trapped between himself and the shotgun. And I start to try to push, because I've had it down at my waist and I'm trying to push it out. I'm trying to get him off my back, but he's too fucking strong and I can't. Fucking trapped. And he's calling out to somebody. And I didn't know. Because I start trying to shake this guy off me. I start trying to shake. And I didn't. My finger was on the trigger. And when I'm shaking, I'm trying to shake him off me. The gun goes off. And it doesn't even make sense to me that later on they told me I shot somebody. Because I didn't know. He was behind us. I didn't even mean to pull the trigger. I was just trying to shake him off me. I didn't even know. I was just trying to get him off me. And when I couldn't get this guy off me, I put my hands up and I said, fine, I give up. And he grabs me by the collar of my jacket. And he has my gun in his other hand. And he brings me over to this office that was across from all these classrooms. And he's banging on the door, and there's a teacher in there, but the teacher in there is crying because he's in fear for his life. He doesn't know what's going on. He just hears the gunshots. And I remember this guy telling him, no, it's okay. I just need to get in there. And we go in there and he tells me to get on the ground, and I do. I get on the ground and he gets on top of me until the police arrive. But everybody's asking me all these questions. But one of them stuck out. They were talking about why would you shoot him? And I didn't understand. Even later that night when they arraigned me for attempted murder at the courtroom, I remember leaving the courtroom and I remember all the news reporters asking, why did you shoot him? I didn't fucking know what they were talking about. But I feel like it doesn't matter. Because I knew what I was doing. I knew I was terrorizing my fellow classmates, my teachers, the community. I knew the psychological damage I would be doing. That's what I wanted to do. Because I felt alone in my pain, and I know that sounds so fucking cliche and stupid to say. But I wanted others to feel pain. I wanted others to feel suffering. Because I was tired of suffering. I was tired of feeling empty. I was tired of it all, and I wanted to be seen because I felt ignored. I felt ignored so many times, and I wanted to be seen. Now all I want to do is I can't undo that pain. I can't undo that suffering. I've put people through therapy. I've done damage I'll never know about, never understand. I can't undo it. All I want to do now is to help somehow, some way. Because nothing is being done, at least nothing meaningful, nothing of true substance on the scale that it needs to be done. And we've seen time and time again as survivors speak out, family members of the slain speak out. And it's like it falls on deaf ears. And even now, this will probably fall on deaf ears, but I have to try. I have to feel like I'm doing something. Because there have been times where I did 17 years in prison. I did what I could to turn my life around in there. Focusing on my mental health, focusing on just believing that, by being open, by being honest, by just kind of shedding some of this darkness that feels like it plagues me. I do feel like I've grown, I feel like I've changed, but that doesn't matter. That doesn't undo what I've done. That doesn't mean that anything is okay. And at the end of the day, who gives a fuck about me? It's not about me. It's about everybody else. I don't want to be fucking doing this, but Jesus fucking Christ, nobody's actually doing anything. Sorry, I hate to say that. There's plenty of people doing things. There's plenty of people trying. There's plenty of people who are doing their best. But I mean, people keep asking me, people keep coming to me, and they wanted the answers. I don't have any fucking answers. I can only tell you the things that other people are already telling you. I'm telling you, demand more for mental health. Because that's a big piece of the puzzle. No, we're not going to blame all of this on mental health, because there's plenty of people, in fact, most people who suffer from mental illness, they don't commit violent acts. They don't do horrible crimes. They're actually more likely to be victims of crimes. I'm just saying that I believe mental illness, mental health plays a factor in this. And it's something that plays a factor in so many things. Yes, we have tragedies of mass shootings, but we also have tragedies of dozens of people every fucking day in America killing themselves. We have people dying every day from overdoses, from drug addiction. These are things that mental health plays a role in, that we can speak about mental health more and educate people more, end the stigma, and give people more opportunities to get the help they need in a affordable way instead of the way that it's set up right now. And we can avoid these tragedies, or we can at least limit them. I mean, if nothing else, shouldn't we be educating our children in schools about mental health. And I'm not talking about just, talking about mental illness, but even just mental health, being mindful about your own mental well-being and coping strategies to help when you're going through a tough time, because everybody goes through a tough time. But we should also be teaching them, all right, here are the signs to know when it's more than just a regular tough time. And here's how you can get help. And if you don't believe in mental health coverage, in an affordable fashion, or even free mental health coverages, I would love to see for everybody. Can we at least get free mental health services for children? Can't we, everybody, get behind that? Is that something that's crazy to ask for? For children to be able to get mental health services, for them to be able to go someplace and to open up to somebody who's, been trained and skilled and knows how to best guide them? I don't know. Because there's so many other things that can be done. But there seems like there's just so much division about how to do some of these things. I think mental health, I think that's something that we can all get behind. I think that's the easiest thing to at least begin with. Not that it's the thing to be done. It's the first thing to be done, because we can all get behind it. Or at least I hope so, because if we can't do that, then we're fucked.